Hello friends, and welcome back to the Zero Progression series. If you're new here, my name is Newt, and this is episode 3 of the series so far. If you haven't had a chance to check out the other episodes, I've linked the playlist in the top right corner. Today's going to be a really fun one because we are diving into some new areas, we are going to be diving into some new bosses, and we've got a lot of upgrading to do. So, without any further ado, let's dive on in. We start out today by trying a few maps around Celis, trying to find a good map with a lazy rotation that we can train at while we're here. And we ended up landing on Star Swallowing Sea 4. While this map has a much lower mob count than most other maps in Celis, it'll provide us a really lazy rotation, and I choose lazy over high mob count every time. After we figured out our rotation and got everything down, we headed back to town because today was a big day. It was Vacpet sale day, and with the amount of farming that I do, it is absolutely worth it for me to get one of these, so we grabbed a little time, which I think is perfect for a zero, and we headed back to Star Swallowing Sea 4 to take it out for a spin. Next, we headed back to town and grabbed some EXP vouchers from the weekly event, and we used those to get to level 241. After that, with it being the first day of the second half of Go West, we decided to jump in and try the new Pharaoh's Treasure content. I had a lot of fun with this content. Chapter 1 wasn't too challenging, it was a great way to ease you in, and it almost reminded me of Hades in MapleStory, which I thought was kind of cool. And there's a lot of good moments that really get your blood pumping.
Surprise, motherfucker!
We got through Chapter 1 without too much trouble, and after taking out the final boss, we went to grab our treasure. Next, we ran through our weekly bossing. And from normal Damien, we ended up getting my very first ever Ruin Force shield, which is great to get on a character that doesn't even use a secondary, let alone a Ruin Force shield. After that, I felt like giving myself a little challenge and decided to try and take on hardcore mode in Chapter 1 of Pharaoh's Treasure. And I was not expecting the enemies and traps to deal out nearly as much damage as they did. And after trying our best and honestly not getting very far, I ended up getting taken out by a few scarab bombs that were hidden behind a pillar. So to finish out the day, we did some training and went through Monster Park, which got us to level 242. And the next day, Chapter 2 released of the Pharaoh's Treasure event, so we dove in and gave it a try. And in this run, we ended up getting super lucky and finding Sacro level 2 in the first store that we ran into, and we had just enough coins to buy it. And pretty soon before the final boss, we ended up getting our final level for Sacro, which was perfect. So with max Sacro and some pretty good stats, we dove into the final boss. I think the boss designs in this content are super cool, even though they can be a little frustrating sometimes. But we ended up getting through it with not too much trouble and grabbed our prize. Next, we got a cash shop update which included some pretty good hairs in the Royal Hair coupon rotation, so we decided to throw one of the Royal Hair coupons at beta to try and get the bubble tea hair, and we ended up hitting it on the very first try. After that, we ran through normal slime with some homies, and I ended up hitting this banger shot from all the way downtown. Let's go. After taking care of the test mechanics, which really taught me how much you need rope lift on this class, while vertical movement can be really good in certain situations, it can definitely be rough in other scenarios. But after getting that done, we bursted our way out. Unfortunately, no drops, but it was normal slime, so you can't expect too much. After that, we ran through our daily monster park and ended up hitting level 243. And with it being 250% monster park, plus the extra monster park experience that we get from the event passive, I got some of the craziest monster park rates I've ever gotten. And because we got so far through the next level, we just decided to grind out level 244. Next, we grabbed the mag pot from the daily party event and used it to get to level 245. And as is tradition, we skipped right through the prequests, and then we took another stab at Culvert. We ended up hitting a 399, which unfortunately just shy of 400, but still a really great score for where we're at. After that, we ran through Flag Race, which was nothing special. We ended up getting a 250. And then I was getting antsy to replace the one stain in my equipment window, which was this Onyx Maple ring, and so we went to get a reinforced ring from Gollix. We took that bad boy to the guild castle and just got it up to 15 stars. And on our way out, I noticed something interesting, that my bishop's picture was hanging in the guild hall. Look at that handsome feller. So anyways, after that, we went to cube our ring and ended up getting a unique 15% on it, which good enough for me. Next, to finish out the set, since I had a reinforced belt and earrings, we decided to get those both to 15 stars. and headed back to Hennessy's to finish cubing those up as well. Not looking for anything special here, just hitting 6% on both. And because we had a little meso and cubes left over, we decided to get a few upgrades on some of our other gear. We ended up getting our shoes to legendary. And on the very next cube, the last one of the pack, we ended up hitting a 20%, which was awesome. After that, we tiered our gloves up to legendary. And again, on the very next cube, we ended up hitting crit damage with all stat, which is perfect. After that, we hit 17% unique on the shoulder, and then we landed a massive 24% on our pants. Next, we threw a few flames at our cup and ended up hitting a 36 and 5, which is a great settle for now. And then because we had some meso left over, we went and star forced our dom to 15. And ended up getting a 15% on that as well. Here we can take a quick sec to look at our stats. We're just shy of 10 million combat power, almost 21k stat. Our IED is just above 92%, which is absolutely perfect for where we are right now. And yeah, we're looking pretty good. Next, because the week rolled over, we decided to take another shot at Culvert to test out the new gains. And we ended up hitting a 462, which is not bad at all, especially considering that I'm still kind of winging it with Culvert. But after that, we ran through Monster Park again and ended up hitting 246. And after a nice satisfying level up of all 6 of our symbols back to back, we dove back into the grind and got level 247. And after somehow losing an entire day of footage, which I guess was a gig grind day because we got to level 248, we dove into Flag Race. Which again was nothing too special. We scored a 250, which I think on nighttime track is perfectly acceptable. Next, after hitting up Monster Park again and hitting level 249, we ran through CRA with the homie. And after getting 3 hats from Von Bon, drumroll please, we got one! A lucky hat, finally, the chicken hath provided. Next, after finishing out the rest of our weekly bosses, we decided to take a stab at duoing normal Lucid with the homie Derby. And after some really weird catastrophic computer issues that ended up getting me killed, and an unfortunate die out to lasers, we jumped right back in for another try. The second try went super smooth, and we ended up getting 2 droplets from Lucid, which is awesome. And then we decided to try and take a stab at Will. We made it all the way to P3, and with 1 life left, I gave it my best shot, but I unfortunately ended up dying out. Which was okay because we ended up getting ahead of ourselves anyways and forgot that we had the Rat Gang party to do hard Luwil with, so we'll just come back to Will in a bit. Next, the homie Yorkie ran us through Sea Slime to try and get a slime ring. Which went pretty well. And we ended up getting a ring. Let's go! After that, we decided to take a stab at Chapter 3 of Pharaoh's Treasure. I had a lot of fun with Chapter 3, and the run went relatively smooth until we got to the final boss. Because we ended up getting bad RNG with our stats, we had very low defense and avoidability and ended up getting caught off guard by a laser from across the map. And we unfortunately ended up dying out. So to quell the frustration from that, we went to do some grinding and got ourselves to level 250. And then we skipped the prequests. And finally made our way to Labyrinth. From there, we grabbed the 3 mag pots from the Star Q event, which is insane. And used those to get ourselves to level 252. Next, it was 5-10-15 and a long-awaited one because we were finally going to Star Force our lucky hat. And after absolutely teasing the shit out of us, going back and forth between 18 and 19, we finally got it to 20 stars, and it boomed, second tap. And now we're gonna have another lesson with Newt. Definitely not based off my bad decisions. So with the Lucky Hat eventually being replaced by the Genesis Weapon, because you can't have 2 lucky item effects going at the same time, and Genesis Weapon will ultimately trump the Lucky Hat, I learned after blowing this hat up that it is not a good idea to go for 21, especially raw tapping on the hat itself. So to hopefully make sure that you guys learn from my mistakes, I'm going to share with you guys the 2 different options that are available based on the conversations I've had with Zero Main since this time. Which are A, you could just raw tap the Lucky Hat to 17 stars and just be done with it from there. 17 stars is perfectly acceptable until you eventually get your Genesis Weapon. Or you can try out the Muspel tech, which is actually something the homie Yorkie pointed out to me after I had boomed this hat. So shout out to Yorkie for this one. Because the Lucky Hat is a level 140 item, you can actually fodder a Muspel hat into the Lucky Hat. So what you can do if you want a little more damage other than just having a 17 star hat, you can push the Muspel hat to 20 and then transfer it into the Lucky Hat, which will leave you with a 19 star Lucky Hat. Now, normally this wouldn't be recommended because transferring at 20 stars is never a good idea because it leaves you at 19 and you can just drop all the way back down to 15 from there. Normally you would want to transfer at something like 21 stars. However, because we're planning on leaving the hat at 19 stars and I'm a cheeky little fucker who likes to be different, this is the option that we're going to be going for. With that being said, if you guys want my actual recommendation for what to do here, if you guys are following along, I would recommend to just 17 star the lucky hat. Don't go wasting your money like I have. Learn from my mistakes, please, and whatever you do, just don't raw tap the hat to 21. It's always a bad idea. Next, we decided to throw some meso at our CRA, and ended up booming our pants 5 times before finally giving up and saying, fuck this, I'm working on something else. So we threw some meso at our top, which unfortunately also boomed, but then went pretty much straight to 21 with very little fails, so we take those. Next we went back to the pants and boomed them again before finally getting them to 21. Next was the slime ring. Which went pretty easily to 17 stars along with our Dom. Next, it was time to make some fodder for our superior belt. So we started tapping one of the tankiest gold clover belts I've ever seen. But eventually it went 22 with no booms, thank God. So we transferred it into our sup belt. And then it was time for some cubing. We ended up getting the belt to legendary and ended up hitting a 21% on it, which is perfect. After that, we got the slime ring to legendary as well and hit a 23 on that. We take those. And then it was time for the rat gang run through Hardwell. The run went super smooth, and unfortunately we didn't end up getting anything from the box except an MVP. After that, because it was still Sunny Sunday, we decided to try and make some earrings for ourselves. We quickly tapped our reinforced earrings to 18 and transferred them into a set of sup earrings. Which we immediately went to cube and hit an 18% on the legendary reveal, which is perfect. So with our leftover cubes, we decided to throw them at our weapon. And we ended up hitting this beautiful 20 attack 35 boss, which is an absolute settle. And here we can take another quick look at our stats. We have absolutely skyrocketed since we checked last time. We are at 22.5 million combat power, almost 25k stat. I don't think I had my legion set up here, so the IED is a little low, but everything is looking really good right now. After that, we got back to the grind and got level 253 before opening some fams. And I shit you not, on our literal second fam, we hit large drop rate. I don't think I've ever gotten a large drop rate familiar this quickly, so we take those. Next, it was time to stop being lazy and follow my own advice, so we decided to shuffle around our boost nodes to get the 7 nodes set up that I explained in the last episode. There we go. That's looking a lot better. Next, it was time to take another stab at Chapter 3 of Pharaoh's Treasure. And at this point, I hadn't figured out about the Eternal Point system that allows you to level up your stats between every run, and so it was taking a long time to kill stuff. Eventually, we made it to the mini-boss at level 10, and I had to lure them into the corner to try and get them away from this damn healing mechanic. That thing was so annoying, but we made it through and pushed on. And this time, with some half-decent defense and avoidability, we dove into the final boss again. And after a long fight, we came out victorious. So we grabbed our treasure and headed out. Next, we used the Inkwell hair coupon from the Star Q event to grab a new hairdo for both Alpha and Beta, which we ended up landing on the Cabana Boy hair for Alpha and the Heart Braid hair for Beta. And then we used a couple of the hair color coupons from the Pharaoh's Treasure event to get this really nice pink color in Beta's hair. And then from there, we went back to the grind to get level 254. Before heading back to town to grab the final mag pot from the Angelic Buster concert event, which we used to push us to level 255. And skip through the Limina prequests. And with that, we have reached the end of today's episode. Thank you guys so much for watching until the end. As always, it's been a pleasure to share my experience with this character with you guys. I'm having a blast learning all the ins and outs and the cool little tricks that you can do with this class. And overall, this class just continues to blow my mind after every new thing that I learn about it. So I'm super excited to start diving into the later areas, get 6th job, get some new upgrades, and start diving into some harder content. If you guys want to see this series recorded live, I stream on Twitch Wednesday through Sunday at reset-7 if you guys want to come hang. As always, do be warned that there may be some spoilers for future episodes, but if that's something you're cool with, I would love to meet you and chat with you. I'm so grateful for all of the support that you guys have shown on these videos and in my Twitch chat. Like, we're almost at 300 subscribers now, which is crazy. Thank you guys so much. And yeah, if you guys enjoyed the video, a like goes a long way. Make sure you leave a comment down below if you guys want me to cover anything specific about Zero in an upcoming episode or a separate video. And make sure you subscribe so that you don't miss out on any future episodes. But with that, I'm off. Thank you guys so much again for sticking around until the end of today's video. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your night, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Bye-bye!